day. And by lunchtime, I'd be starving. Time! Overtime about 5. Oh my gosh. It still doesn't. It doesn't.
Okay, I want you to start off with a warm-up exercise. I want you to start off by doing what you were doing last night, strength showers or higher self readings. And I want you to start by going to people outside of the group you were with last night. And start with the people that you know the least. Okay? Go. Stand up and go from person to person for a few minutes.
May I?
I don't know. There we go. How much?
I know, I just told him no. We did it yesterday. Where's your name?
That's okay.
Let's see, this is my,
For sure.
I was going to say, this is my 45th. No, it's
You know what? It's somewhere here. I put it on. So my name is
You sleep well?
Like this. Music must
Hi, Joel. I want you to know that I appreciate your learning. I want you to know your courage and your willingness to stand in your power and help you as an
still getting here.
I did a year ago in December. Yes, that's right. Yes. I'm going after
Hey, Joel.
Okay, wrap it up with the person you're on and have a seat.
It's all lies. Never done so. Just see that it was.
Have a seat.
Maria, remember now. You'll say for Maria.
Do you think Maria or Marie?
Whichever. I'm singing the song from Sunday.
Okay, I want to make an announcement about lunch because the reason why we often do an in-house lunch is because I need to let the new people know about like upcoming things like Movement to Mastery or the Awakening and that kind of thing. But since we only have, I think, 3 new people, Charlene and Amanda and Samantha, that if they are okay going to lunch with me, then we can go out to lunch. We don't have to stay here and add a little bit of extra time, and then we can go out instead of being here. Would people prefer to go out or still stay here?
Where would we go out to?
Wherever you want to. I'm going to go to Sampan, the Chinese place that's around the corner here, and people are welcome to join our table too, but I'm just going to be talking to those 3 people.
How long will we have? I brought my.
You'll have about an hour and a half, maybe an hour and 40.
She
Okay.
just said she brought her lunch. Is that?
Now
Does
you have to
she?
stay here.
No, you can take it home.
Actually, you can bring your lunch to the restaurant with us. That's fine. If you don't mind.
Or Chinese, I could possibly find something at a Chinese restaurant that I could eat.
Yeah, and I really think that they don't care if there's a bunch of people ordering. They don't care if somebody brings their lunch.
I actually kind of like the idea of eating with everyone
Good.
here.
Oh, yeah. Well, I want you to know, if we ate here, it would be the same thing. That, in other words, some people would join my table and some people would eat separately, so it's not going to be any different.
Oh, so it's not a coming together of sharing.
Well, we'll all be in the same room.
We'll sit with you, Charlie.
Okay,
Okay, whichever.
so we won't worry about it then. We'll just go ahead and everybody can go wherever they want to go. And if you want to join us at Sampan, you're more than welcome to. That'll save Holly a little bit of work.
Oh, I see. Oh, I see what we're doing.
We're at Sampan so that we get.
If you get off on the 106 South exit, okay, then go to State Street and go north. It's on the back side of the mall. So you have to kind of look for it from State Street because it's a little bit in, you know, because it's on the mall, you know. But you can see it really easy. Have to look.
And carpool.
Yeah, carpool with people who've been there before.
Right on top.
Okay, let's start off with a brainstorm review. So pull out your notes and your memory and call out 1-sentence statements that capture the principles that you most want to remember from last night.
First,
Gail.
you asked us to remind you about the 3 principles. Is that after this? Or do you want to do that
Yeah.
first?
Let me get it out. go. Thank you for reminding me, Gail. Okay, principles. Joel.
Okay. The closer you get to a 4-level issue, the scarier and the more it looks like death. The more you want to sabotage it.
Yeah. Not you, but your Wilbur.
Right, Wilbur.
Let's acknowledge each one. Okay, Marie?
The essence of all good therapies is getting the person out of the don't want theater to the do want theater.
You're right, to find a way to move toward the do want theater. Excellent. Good, Jamie.
The truth used is not the truth.
Yes, that's a quote from Werner Erhard, founder of EST. On Netflix, you can look at the movie Transformation, the life and legacy of Werner Erhard. One of my partners in crime and one of my heroes. Somebody else. Sandra.
So when pain
Yeah,
is just that much more than
Yeah.
fear,
yeah,
then there can be change.
yeah,
And so the processes
yes.
help lower the
The fear.
fear so that you don't need as much pain.
Yes, yes, absolutely. I think it's profound that that's what our grandparents and great-grandparents did not have. They didn't have any processes like connected breath or moving your emotional energy or that. And most of the world today does not have those processes. It's a growing number of people that do. Like 1 out of 7 people in San Francisco has done EST or something like that. You know, there's a growing number, but for the most part, the world doesn't know anything about empowerment dialogue or moving your emotional energy. They don't know that stuff. And when I meet people from the normal world, I cringe inside thinking how they're doing their best to make their life work, but without any real tools. You know, it's like, poor babies. Marie. Oh, did we acknowledge? Okay, Marie.
The context of this course is to that I am a gift.
Yes, to ignite the gift that you are. Beautiful. Kayla?
Power in fundamentals. Master the fundamentals.
Yes, that's right. That's right. I'm going to have to look up a list of all the coaches that are famous for mastering the fundamentals, because most of the famous coaches in history, they will say, oh, he was a master of the fundamentals. That's what they say. Excellent.
And you don't have to play football.
Yes, Charlene.
Upset only stays around that, as you don't commit to what you do.
Yes, that's right. That's the one thing that every upset has in common is you haven't made a commitment to moving toward the do want theater. That's right. It literally cannot exist physiologically without that. Good. Somebody else. Holly.
It is when you recognize people and say what you see that they can step back and be safe enough to be what you see.
Yes, that's right. Acknowledge. Joel?
The emotional black hole is held in place by something that the critical parent is doing daily
To the inner child.
to the inner child.
That's right. That's a quote from Megan Oberer. Acknowledge. Cheryl.
Most of my success will be through my conversations that really count.
Yes, that's right. Acknowledge. James.
The source of fear is not walking in true self and true integrity, God's self, etc.
Yeah, yes, that's right. Acknowledge. Linda.
Humans need to know that they count, that there is a reason for their soul being here.
That's right. And that is the deepest human need. All other needs are not deeper. You know? Good job. Okay, Charlotte.
You're very clever at getting in our own way.
Yes. Yes. Especially me. Yeah. Marie.
Words have the power to heal.
I love that. Words have the power to heal. Who said that? I did. Anybody else? Cheryl.
don't worry about whether or not your do wants will happen. Just pretend it can happen.
That's right. Act as if. Acknowledge. I do want to say, in the beginning was the Word, not the kind of words coming out of my mouth. In the beginning was intention. Intention. And humankind is just barely beginning to get the power of their thoughts, the power of faith. We forget that everything in your life is so because you say it is so. The moment you say something different, the moment you're brave enough to act on faith, it will be different. We're just beginning to know the power of faith and thoughts. That's why my main focus for the last few years has been to manage my consciousness every minute of every day. I am keenly aware of the state that I'm in. If I get a big disappointment, a big heartbreak, I do what I can to move out of the negative theater into the positive theater. And I do that every minute of every day because it's become painfully obvious to me that, for example, when I pray, God answers my prayers. I'm amazed at how often I can just ask for whatever and it comes. And if I can stay in the positive theater, I manifest the blessings. And it's what Einstein said about vibration. Whatever your thoughts are, you are manifesting, whether you know it or not. Sandra.
So I don't know if this is appropriate for me to say.
Great. I love inappropriate.
Okay. Well, it's because I'm promoting myself.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. So I will be offering a study group about this very thing starting in February, and it's based on Dr. David Hawkins' work. He's calibrated every state of consciousness, and its frequency. And so for 6 weeks, my study group will be listening to what he has to say about the frequency so that we can do what you just said.
Yeah.
Be conscious every minute of every day of where we're vibrating.
Great.
So if anybody's interested in being a part of the study group, let me know.
Good job.
Was that
Thank you.
inappropriate?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. Acknowledge. Carlos?
Yeah, what I want to say is that electricity is frequency, all right? It transforms from frequency into electricity so you can have whatever electricity and everything else. Now, your body, I just heard that a few days ago from one of the stuff that I was listening. Your body is producing an hour, 11 million kilowatts per hour, your own body and your electrons and your atoms, what you have. So if that is electricity is frequency, and you're manifesting electricity in your own body, how important is the frequency that you're manifesting to get your life according to what you want, according to your dreams, get them out there.
Yep. Acknowledge. You know, they don't know how radio waves work. They know that they exist and they know they can use them, but they don't know how does a radio wave go through walls and solid objects and like that. You have to understand that your consciousness, you are a God. Whether you know it or not, you are a God. And everything that you transmit out to the universe comes back to you that powerfully. I've had so many examples in my life where some financial crisis happened and I had to raise $10,000 in one day, or the company was crashing. And thank God I knew about this principle and said, okay, time to set an intention, time to make a miracle happen, time to have faith. Or we got kicked out of our office, had 5 days to move. On the day that we had the trucks all ready to tear down the old office and put it in storage, I woke up and went, I don't want to move twice. Time to set an intention. Time to manifest an office. Set my intention, act on faith, and within 2 hours, and the guy said, I have never leased out an office this fast. I said, yep, me neither. I have dozens of stories like that. Because in the last few years, I began to understand just how powerfully we are in manifesting whatever we intend and can have faith to manifest. Any other principles from last night? Charlene?
To find the adjustment that my pain is asking for.
Yes, that's the purpose of any good one-on-one session with a coach or counselor or whoever. To find the adjustment which this month's pain is asking for. Good job. Jamie?
The critical parent will continue until the child inside says, you don't get to tell me that anymore.
You don't get to talk to me like that anymore. That's a profound principle. I want you to know, in Movement to Mastery, you're going to take Empowerment Dialogue, Gestalt Dreamwork Workshop, and you're going to learn how to do Empowerment Dialogue. And the smartest of you will actually practice that quite consistently and quite regularly, And at some point, usually somewhere between year 1 and year 3, somebody's done enough Empowerment Dialogues that moment happens. Where the child just literally says, enough, you don't ever get to talk to me like that again. And the parent will usually test them for about a month, and the kid holds his ground, and then that is a miraculous day because that's when they have a new relationship.
Can you feel it?
I watched a cute video the other night about a guy named, I think, Rich Mullins, who was a Christian singer. He would write Christian songs about Jesus and God and all that, And at some point he had a #1 hit in the Christian radio stuff. And there was a fascinating movie about his life and how, because his dad was critical, how he struggled all his life. And even when he was on the top and booked out for 6 months, and he was going through alcohol and depression, and it really makes a point about how parents don't understand. Like his dad, he messed up with the tractor somehow, and the tractor got broken. And so when the next thing broke, he says, everything you touch breaks. Parents don't understand how crippling things like that are to their children. Criticism is the killer. Laura and I are talking about doing some parenting stuff, and we want to do a video that we would love to see go viral about this, about criticism, and about what parents need to know about how to raise their kids' self-esteem instead of devastate it.
Very much so.
Good. Any other principles?
Can do a share?
Let's hold off until we get done with this. Any other principles? Leslie?
Fear is a wall until you walk through it, then you realize it's a bubble.
Yep. Quote from Fritz Perls. Good. I think that's one of the things I love the most about Movement to Mastery is that over consistent time of support, with all the weekend workshops and the every other week meetings and like that, that people begin to get in the habit of stretching. I think maybe with this group I might go back. Over the years we've had a lot of good stuff in that program, and we kind of took stuff out because it was too much. The program was too much to deal with, And one of the things we took out was unreasonable requests, but I think I might put it back in this year. To have you once a month identify an unreasonable request. In other words, something that you need to ask for that would really further your movement, but to you looks unreasonable. Like you just can't ask for that. That's not reasonable. That's unreasonable. And then have you tell your group what that is, and then go and do it every month. Get in the habit of learning how to ask for what is unreasonable.
Is it asking for things for yourself or asking others to do things that are unreasonable?
For yourself.
He totally nudged me. And
For yourself.
Yeah.
It's for yourself. Cheryl?
I'm so glad you're gonna put that back in.
Yeah.
Because when I went through, we had to do that.
Yeah.
And I have that skill down.
Yeah.
And I get so many things that I really want because that's
Yeah.
like easy for me now.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that you never would have gotten because people stop the moment they think it's unreasonable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good job. Acknowledge.
I'm proud to know.
Yeah.
All right.
That fear is false evidence that appears real.
Yeah. Good job. Acknowledge. By the way, on that cue, okay, I want everybody who's currently in Movement to Mastery, and if people who've been through Movement to Mastery want to participate, you can if you want to. I want you to stand up and do your new skill that you're going to be doing twice a night during Movement to Mastery. Everybody all at once. Okay? If you're not in Movement to Mastery, just watch these fools go bananas.
I want to acknowledge you.
I did my best.
Awesome.
Acknowledge. Linda, remind me about every half hour to have them do that. I don't know. It would just be fun for me. Is it as good for you as it is for me?
I need to spank the same.
Okay. If you're going to be a healer, if you're going to be a facilitator, if you're going to change people's lives, I want to give you the come from that has the highest leverage. This is from Stephen R. Covey. He said, seek to bless, not to impress. You know, one time at the Awakening, I had a profound experience.
Only once?
It was the only profound experience I've ever had at the Awakening. I was up in the loft. I think they were doing connected breath down on the first floor. And all of a sudden, in my experience, Jesus came into the building and his chest was as big as the building, and I was in his heart. And I literally just curled up into a fetal position, and I got filled with this phenomenal love. And I realized that every time I'd screwed up my life is because my emotional black hole had me fighting with ego and greed for me. And every time life was singing and dancing, it was because I was fighting for something bigger than myself. I was fighting for that light, for that love. So I wrote a declaration that has been in my daytimer ever since, so that I see it subconsciously. I am a samurai for Christ. I fight not for me. I fight for that light. Every right now is an opportunity to see how Christ-like I can be. Let me tell you, I fail at that once in a while. As Sarah well knows. I spend my time in design not for what looks good, but for what truly serves. So that's the highest context for being somebody who can change people's lives. Now, as a coach, we enter into a sacred partnership. You and I join forces to get your dreams. All of our dialogue feels like that, regardless of the topic. Okay, now I'm going to teach you what normal coaching looks like so you can see the distinction between what normal coaches do every day and what we do. So, by the way, the reason why coaching is the fastest growing career in the nation is because, for one thing, there is no national board like psychotherapists, counselors, psychiatrists, most professionals have a board, a state board, a national board, and you have to jump through a lot of hoops, like you have to go to school for 6 years, to qualify. Coaching has no national board, which is phenomenal, because until it does, it means that anybody can call themselves a life coach. You can go online right now, and for less money than you probably paid to be in this course, get a life skills coaching certificate.
$50 from you.
After this course.
Oh, after this course.
Yeah. So people typically who would coach like executives in companies will make between $600 and $1,200 a month for 4 half-hour sessions. And this is what they do. How do you define success? That's A. Where would you rate yourself? What's missing? What action would make this better? And what would you commit to doing this week? That's what they get paid all that money for. Because executives are now beginning to realize if they don't have somebody to keep them accountable, they don't perform as well. But just simply having somebody that they can have as an accountability coach makes a huge difference in their performance. True for all human beings.
Can you repeat this?
Yeah. Number 1 is how do you define success? Number 2 is where would you rate yourself? Number 3 is what's missing. Number 4 is what action would make this happen. Okay. Want me to talk slower?
Yes, please.
Could you go back to number 2?
Okay. Where?
No, you can talk fast and then leave a gap.
Where would you rate yourself? Number 2. Number 3. What's missing? Number 4.
Just a second. I don't take short answers.
Dictation classes before.
I'll just call you Shlomo.
Yes, please.
Okay. Number 4. What action would make this happen? Number 5. What would you commit to this week? Now understand, all the elements of the essence of any good therapy are in there. You're identifying what they don't want, and you're asking them what strategies will move them toward what they want. So the essence of it is in there. It's just a very much more surface level process. Okay, now I want to talk about the 2 theaters of consciousness model. Okay, and in your handouts, there's a handout called the 2 theaters of consciousness.
I have it on page 6.
Yeah, by the way, some of you who got later handouts got next year's handouts. Because I added a page in there, and some of you don't, but I have it individually as a handout over here, so when the time comes. Matter of fact, you know what? I think that's better now. I think it's better before we go into the two theories. So for those of you who do not have this handout in your handouts, okay, it's called Rise Leadership Group Processes for Private Practice. If you don't have it in your handouts, raise your hand and I'll give you one. Okay?
What pages are free?
I think everybody but the last 4 or 5 people that we put in handouts doesn't have it. You got it? Wow, that's interesting. You got it? You got it? You got it? Okay, you got it, Sandra?
Yes.
Okay, you got it?
Where should I tried to download the small business practices and
Oh, this
it
is the
wouldn't-
one that he
it
told us
wouldn't
to
send
download
this code.
last night.
Oh,
Jerry downloaded it.
Jamie? No.
Is this the one that you're?
She tried to download
Yeah, this is the
the
one
Private
that's
Practice
here.
Success workbook.
And it came up with some like word like MIRRJEH in a WordPress
Yeah,
code
you don't have,
or
that's
access.
your page 3.
And it was like, say what?
But you have it in there.
That was trying to access what? I'm sorry.
And it was just,
Well,
it was like Merja or something.
I would like
No,
to.
it's actually
Country
was
word.
involved.
This one, thank you.
Thank you.
If you want to, on a break, you can give me the $10 and I'll just print them out for you.
All right.
Great.
That would be good.
Huh?
That'd be good.
Yeah.
That'd be good.
Yeah,
You
really.
sold 10 copies.
Whoever wants one, just let me know. So I printed that out for this workshop because I want you to see, you know, when you're in private practice as a life skills coach, you want to be able to wow your clients. You want them to be excited to come back. And so a lot of times coaches will say, well, you know, what do I do when I have a client in front of me? What kind of skills can I do that would wow my clients? Well, certainly in this workshop, you're going to learn recreation, don't want, do want, which is profound. You can do that with everything. But I'm giving you a list that has all the different processes you can do in a private practice by going through our workshops. Like if you're in Movement to Mastery, you'll see a lot of the workshops that you're going to be doing this year have that list, have those skills in it. Those are things that you can do with your clients.
This is awesome.
Yeah. It's nice to know the skills you're going to be learning that you can use for your clients.
Yeah.
They have these for the people to back in if they want. Okay. Now we're going to talk about the fight or flight mind because you want a real clear understanding of why recreation, don't want, do want works. So turn to your handout that says the 2 theaters of consciousness. So understand that the theater of fear is called the fight or flight mind. It's a literal part of your brain, and I believe it's in your whole body. Actually, scientists are now discovering that the stomach area is actually a separate brain in and of itself, which is why people say, you know, you're in your head, but they also say, I trusted my gut. You know what I'm saying? A different brain. So your physiological fight or flight mind has one job. Its job is to view the environment for anything that's threatening or uncomfortable and either fight or flight. Came in really handy when we were running away from saber-toothed tigers. I love the documentary that says, you know, it's about early man, you know, and it says the little girl is so happy that her and her father escaped the saber-toothed tiger. And she'd love to tell him how happy she is, but she'll have to wait 1,000,000 years before they have language. So understand that all that DNA is still in your body. All the moments that ancient man had to run from saber-toothed tigers and whatever else was out there is still in your physiology, in your brain. So anything threatening or uncomfortable that comes into your environment, you either fight. Someone says, honey, would you please do the dishes? Get off my back, you're just like my mother! Or you fight, you run. Get the hay out of Dodge. Right? I have a nephew who's fairly socially inept because as a child he learned that the best way to respond to the world was to just go inside and shut up and be quiet and not come out. Well, that makes life very tough. And so he's convinced himself that the best way to exist on the planet is to live in a little tiny box. Now, we all live in a box, but some people's boxes are a lot smaller than others. So this machine that looks out through your eyes for scanning the environment, okay? If you were to buy a ticket to that theater, you'd say, what's playing today? The person would say, oh, it's a great movie. It's called The Worst Thing That Could Possibly Be Happening, based on 2 billion recordings of moments that were threatening or uncomfortable. It will scan the environment. The worst thing that could possibly be happening right now is happening right now. Now playing. Ooh, give me a ticket. So as you're walking out in life, you know, you see somebody who's not smiling coming down the path. Human being not smiling. Second grade, not smiling, beat me up. That's happening right now. It doesn't say it's like that. It's saying it's happening right now. Made it past that human being. Ah, another human being. Here's a great quote. I have been through some terrible things in my life, some of which actually happened. Mark Twain.
So that's where that came from.
Yeah. Can you repeat it one more time, Gary? Can you repeat it one more time?
Oh, yeah. I've been through some terrible things in my life, some of which actually happened. So I'm not going to do the whole spiel I do in relationships course. I just want to give you the idea that there is a machine. You know, does a machine know it's a machine?
No.
No.
No. It's a machine. So your fight or flight mind is like a Xerox machine. It doesn't know that it's a machine. Now, you are a self. You're a human being. You're a consciousness. You're not a machine. You have a machine. If you know that you have a machine, you are no longer the machine. Most human beings before this spiel don't know that they have a machine. They simply are the machine. If their Wilbur says, shut up, be quiet, don't speak up, better make that person happy, you know, if you say that or do that, they're going to laugh at you. Whatever the Wilbur says, they just do that. They just do it. They think that's reality. Now the theater of play, the do-want theater, the name on that theater is the best that I have the power to imagine. Now playing. So let me give you some principles on the power of perception. 3 principles. Number 1, in the quality of daily life, you can only rise as your level of perception. You can only rise as high as your level of perception. Your perception determines all of your behavior and all of your results.
Perception what?
Determines all of your behavior and all of your results. Principle number 2, perception is only limited by imagination. Principle number 3, imagination is only limited by your current level of personal power. I'm going to use my own example.
Can we do a repeat just for those 3?
Which, okay, number 1 is, in the quality of daily life, you can only rise as high as your level of perception.
Perception determines.
Number 2 is perception is only limited by imagination.
Just a moment.
That was 3.
No, 3 is imagination is only limited by your current level of personal power.
Imagination is only
Limited by your current level of personal power. And if you don't know what personal power means, just think of it as self-esteem or self-confidence.
And then the first one, you added also to the very end, your perception determines.
Yes. All of your behavior and all of your results.
All your behavior.
I can't hear you.
Will you read number 3?
Yes, number 3 is imagination is only limited by your current level of personal power. I'll use my own example to try to clarify it. So, I'm 19 years old. I'm smart, but I'm emotionally pretty messed up. On the verge of a nervous breakdown. I can't say no to anything. I'm pretty much a mess. So I move into CEDU and I see these facilitators, you know, in their 20s, and they're leading these phenomenal groups. Now at that level of self-esteem or confidence or personal power, the best I can imagine for myself is that one day maybe I could be one of those facilitators. That's as big as my current personal power can imagine. Do you understand? That's as big as I can imagine. Then one day I become one of those facilitators a couple years later. I'm pretty good at groups. And then I have enough personal power that I can imagine bigger things. I think maybe someday when I leave CEDU, I could do my own workshops. But it's so big, it's so far away, it's like a real dream. Then I come to Salt Lake, and eventually one day I'm doing my own workshops. Now I have more personal power. I can imagine bigger things. So one day I do an S seminar with, I don't know, a couple hundred people in it, and everybody's getting wow. It's about stuff that was pretty old hat for me because I've been through most of that in CEDU, right?
What's CEDU?
CEDU Foundation was a therapeutic community that I moved into when I was a teenager. Mel Wasserman was the leader. He was probably a generation or 2 generations ahead of his time. He was inventing stuff like NLP, which wouldn't get invented by other people for another 20 years, you know, that kind of thing. anyway, so now I think, wow, if I put together my own retreat, I think I could put together one of the most healing and empowering experiences on the planet. Now, at the time, it's so big of a dream that I can't even tell people. It's like a little secret because it's like, it's so big. And eventually that happens. The awakening happens. And it's accurate. Most people who've been through the awakening, especially if they've done a lot of other workshops, know that it's the most healing and empowering experience on the planet. One of the ways I know this is because I've been around the world and done every workshop I could possibly get my hands on. I've never seen anything like it. There's this one lady I have, a friend of mine, who does workshops. She's like a workshop junkie. She goes around and does stuff with Tony Robbins and Deepak Chopra and Dr. Phil and whoever. You know what I mean? She always sends me these little postcards. I did, you know, Tony Robbins retreat in Hawaii, da da da. Just want you to know, there's still nothing like the awakening. Matter of fact, isn't that one of your stories, Casey, about how you didn't do the awakening when your mom did it because you thought, I'm going to go to a Tony Robbins thing?
I was scheduled, I was booked in San Jose, and
yeah.
I didn't go until the next, actually it was 2 years later that
wow.
I went. And
you know?
I'll vouch for that. Nothing I've been to is, I mean, even 20% of what you experience at the awakening.
Yeah. Yeah, in case he was thinking, what could this short Mexican offer me compared to Tony Robbins?
Yeah.
In corroboration of that, I used to work for Tony Robbins. I was a counselor, and he's right. I mean, the awakening is definitely better.
Yeah, good, thank you. So anyway, once I created the awakening, I had a lot more self-esteem and a lot more personal power, and I can imagine much, much bigger things now. And I imagine that 1,000 or 10,000 or 1,000,000 years from now, I will be able to imagine much, much bigger things. That's those 3 principles. So if you keep growing, what you dream of today, one day will look like small potatoes. Imagine that, Samantha. Samantha holds herself as somebody who can dream fairly big, which is great. I love it. I love it when you hold yourself as hot shit. You know what I mean? Like when you hold yourself as hot stuff. I love it. And more than that, I love it that I can take you higher. Ooh, you think you're hot now? Wait till I get through with you. Okay, get a partner, share with your partner any thoughts or feelings about what I've been telling you. Go.
Where are you going to try? Oh, okay, yeah. This whole idea of resistance, loving this idea of just like this. Oh, ideas and